Hello, welcome to the Minetrek server. I'm currently on the Enterprise B bridge, and I thought I'd give you a real quick tour of our work here. This, of course, is Deck 1, and it leads back here to a little crew area, office, and briefing room. Over here would be, of course, the captain's ready room and turbo lift. This is Deck 2. It's primarily just office spaces and office rooms. Has a nice little lounge area here. And it also has a whole bunch of escape pods and some engineering rooms down here at the end. These rooms are still work in progress, but you kind of get the gist of what's going on here. We are currently at the top of the warp core. The warp core comes up and then separates off to two separate pods that are located on the exterior of the ship. Kind of a neat design. All the Jeffries tubes, these things, are all interlinked. They basically connect throughout the ship. You can go from the bridge literally to the bottom of the ship, the bowels of the ship if you wanted to. We're on Deck 3. This is one of the unfinished decks. It'll have multiple rooms for offices, labs, and other interesting things. Anything we can come up with, basically. It is also one of the decks that has primary weapons and even more escape pods, as you see right here. Neat thing about these designs is we can pretty much design anything we want to design, how we want to design it. This is a phaser pod. This, of course, is power taps to the phaser pod, and these all lead back around the ship to engineering. You can thank a guy named Shadow Viper for this concept. He started it in his Steamrunner build, which is a phenomenal build. If you come onto the server, again, it's minetrek.net. Please tour what he's got going on there. It's still a work in progress, and it is amazing. You have to check it out. It's just one of those things that when you're on the server, you must check it out. Back up to Deck 2, and there's Deck 3, and now we're on Deck 4. Deck 4 is the medical deck, and of course here's sick bay. It's kind of tiny, but it's a starship from the 23rd, 24th century. What do you expect? It's also just, it's a work in progress. Most likely a lot of the stuff will be replaced by different types of blocks and stuff, and medical officers area. There's a head. Yeah, I said head again. Another section here. And zip on down here, and these are the transporter bays in work in progress. So they're not done yet. They're still being designed. There's 4 of them in the saucer section. Actually, there's more than 4 of them, but there's the 4 on this deck. And of course, this extends all the way down here and goes all the way around the ship. These will probably be primarily crew quarters, and maybe some labs and some other areas for medical. We haven't decided yet, but I'm sure we will soon. And I'm still going around the deck here. We're probably on the port side, heading aft. Yep. Here's a Jeffries tube, and here's some more escape pod access points. Most likely below us on the next deck. And this leads back here to a little engineering section and the impulse engine. This, of course, is the primary impulse engine of the saucer, and there are 4 impulse engines on the saucer. This one here is impulse engine 1 and 2. There are a combined engine, and then there's 3, and then there's 4. I'll show you number 3 here if we get down here. And we're on Deck 5. This is the starboard main impulse engine. This is where the ship gets a lot of juice from. One must wonder, how many horsepower is one of these things? Stick that in your Ferrari and drive it. Anyways, we are on Deck 5. We're taking a little Jeffries tube here. As you can see, all the Jeffries tubes are interconnected. You can literally, as I said earlier, go from the bridge to the bowels, very bottom of the ship, by just going through these little pathways. Of course, you have to go through quarters and other things at times too. This is a latching system between the 2 hulls, the primary hull and the star drive hull. What happens when the ship has to separate? Most people go to the primary hull as a lifeboat, and the star drive is jettisoned and blows up. This would basically close and fill this room here, or this area here, sealing the two hulls. And there are two separate hulls. You can't really see it in this, but the ship does have two separate hulls. If we were to separate the model, you would see they're distinctive. You can tell the difference between them. And you'll also notice that a lot of the decks are mirrored between levels. That's standard ship design, both Navy and commercial. It's logical. It's the best way to perform, the most efficient way to do things. This is the top of the excuse me, the top of the IDF system, internal dampening field. And currently we are still on the primary hull, but you can see there's a separator for the two hulls, and we're going to go down into the drive hull. Sorry about that, I had to clear my throat. Now it would truly be a bad day for you if you're a crew member running through here and you kind of hit the deck and slid and stopped right here as the door came down. And let's say you're going to be on both parts of the ship. Now this corridor is a wraparound, and it's mirrored throughout the next section of the ship. Obviously it's wrapping around the primary warp core and areas inside of it, of the IDF and offices, engineering offices, excuse me, be a little bit more specific there. And it's pretty much mirrored from deck to deck. Got little areas here. We tried to use as much space as we could with the build, because the ship itself is very limited internal deck plans are available, so a lot of it's creative license. This is you saw it earlier, that up there is the impulse engine. These are power taps and conduits between the two, so we can transfer engine from the impulse engines to the star drive section of the ship, the power stuff, as needed. And also to help with the energizers, which are located further aft and below us. And those are used as capacitors, basically to pre-charge phasers and other weapon systems, the warp coils and all that other neat stuff. This is a rotary torpedo launcher. There are two of them on board the ship. They are a rapid-fire system. Here's the magazine of torpedoes. Basically, this thing can fire 4 torpedoes in the span it takes a conventional starship to fire 1. The problem with them, though, is they're prone to jamming. So that's why they only have 2 of them on board the ship, and they really didn't adopt this for the next couple of classes, but they did for the D, and the D fires much larger torpedoes and fires them in brackets of 4. So that's how come when they're fired they look like one and they break up and go off in different sections, or different directions. This is a structural integrity field generator. There are 2 of these on board the ship. They're an integral part of the ship. They basically keep you from being splattered and keep the ship together while it's going really, really fast. Back here, I believe, maybe a deck below us, I'm not certain. Nope, looks like we're on the right deck. Shield generators. There are 4 of these on board the ship, and this is the port side forward one. It's in the neck section of the ship, but I believe there's actually, excuse me, there might be 6. We may have put 2 more into the saucer section, smaller ones. I'd have to go back and do a more in-depth tour to see if they're there. It's been a while since I've been here. This is a head area. Yes, I said head. Live with it. And we're on the upper deck of main engineering. A lot of detail build work went into this. By far, this was one of the builds I really, truly enjoyed doing. We had 2 designs for this. This one was the one we chose for the Enterprise B, and the second one we adopted for the Enterprise TNG-C build, which is currently under development, work in progress. And I was hoping I could show you, but I think it might be a couple of decks below us here, the area where Kirk died. That was one of the sets we had to pre-build as well. These are all crew quarters, as you can see. They're all separated out already. These were the easy ones to do. because they're pretty much just a lot easier to do it this way, down through here and stuff. We'll zop back here, work our way around the ship as fast as we can. We're at the bottom section of engineering, where the warp core separates out and heads off to the drive section, or the nacelles of the ship. Let me get up forward here to show you where the warp core is. And this again is main engineering. This is the warp core. As you can see, it goes way up there, way down there, and then of course separates out here. I'm stuck and work my way through it here and stuck again. Well, we'll just do it this way. A lot of detail work goes into this stuff, and fortunately it gets in the way when you're trying to show people things. This is all him, Heller. He designed this entire section through here. So when you come on the server and you want to see what M. Heller does, apart from being the server admin and owner, he does stuff like this. He's an engineering guy, and he's the guy we go to for a lot of engineering advice, both Star Trek and real world. He's phenomenally intelligent with this stuff. As you can see, a lot of cool detail here. And this leads to the center mass of the ship, and of course these are the energizers I mentioned earlier. They are pre-chargers. They take power and build up and store it for use in case something happens to the main system, or they want to pre-charge their weapons without being detected. This is the second structural integrity field and internal dampening field. This is what keeps you from going splat, and this is what keeps the ship together at high speeds, or at least that's my understanding of it. Of course, these lead up to the pylons, and the pylons are separate, available in case something happens. They can jettison the nacelles and the pylons together, and that's an airlock. And we'll go ahead and climb into a Jeffries tube here, and we'll go down. And not exactly certain where some of these things lead. It's been a while since I've been here, so as you can see, the Jeffries tubes all have their purposes. They lead to different parts of the ship, and here we are, back in a corridor. This is some of the main escape pods. You'll denote that on the outside of the ship you'll see like brackets, like square rectangles. Those are the hatches. Atypically they're not seen in the model itself because the hulls have explosive bolts that blow away, so the escape pods can be jettisoned. And we'll see if we can work our way up to the main aft hangar bay here. I think it's this way. In fact, I'm pretty sure it is this way. Bada bing, here we are. This is the main hangar. This is one of our unique designs. I went through there and it had a funny dome system to it. I really didn't like it, so I looked through a bunch of images of the B and found this one, and this is the one I went ahead and made. This is all freeform, built on the server, hand built, which means I placed all the blocks on one side and then mirrored it to the other. And of course, folks came through and offered suggestions, including this. That's a phaser array that wasn't there originally, but we went ahead and put it on there. And somebody, I think probably DeBaum or M. Heller, moved that out of the way so we could get into the ship and see it. It's kind of a custom feature now we do for all the ships. Let people know that's a hangar. This, of course, was added to the Excelsior model for the movie Generations to denote the difference between the Excelsior and the Enterprise B. This is some sort of sensor array. We haven't finished it yet. We were earlier when I was giving you a tour, I think we were up in here, but that may have been on a different recording. And we come back here, and this is the main hangar area. Lower hangar is the first thing we built on the ship after cleanup on the hull. Mark wanted to, one of the designers, him and M. Heller wanted to make sure that we had little spots for the work bees to be parked in, and so we did that. We horseshoed them in here and got it all sealed up, kind of neat. And this is the main hangar. Goes up to a storage bay. Has both lifts and transporters. Some cargo is too big, it can't be beamed. We have access to all the decks. These are big M. Heller design things for cargo. This, of course, is the main cargo bay. This is the shuttle parking repair facility, and it feeds back here to shuttle loading and debarking center or area to the main hangar. And I'll see if I can go and find Kirk's little room where Kirk kicked the bucket. It's, I think on this deck, it might be the deck below us. Who knows? We'll figure it out together. We got time. We'll zip down through this little corridor here. Easy way to get to it, of course, would be to take the Jeffries tubes, but we could get turned around in the Jeffries tubes really easy. So this deck's going to be crew quarters and looks like science and laboratories. And if we find a Jeffries tube up here, we'll snag it. And we're in a forward torpedo bay. This feeds the other two torpedo launchers. I believe they are, yeah, they're below us. Let's go take a look there. I think we can get to Kirk's room from here, so this will work out for us. These are the conventional torpedo launchers. And they're magazine fed, of course, and fire torpedoes. And we'll come down here and we'll go, come on, let me off. And then we'll come down here and we'll look for our little crossover. This is part of the deflector array. As you can see, it's a pretty big deflector. Yeah. She's a big one. Oh, I stand corrected. This is not a deflector. This is part of the engineering section for antimatter injectors. This, I believe, is bulk antimatter storage. I'd have to investigate that. That is pretty darn cool. I did not realize that I was that far down. So let us go up and see what we find up. Up might be the direction we needed to go. And warp core. Trying to think, yeah. See, it's so much fun. I build these ships and then I get lost on them. You all get to laugh at me as I walk around like an idiot going, I think this is where I'm supposed to go. And unfortunately, I have no idea. But we will find it together. If not, well, that was a bad idea. And it's fixed. I have the compass hidden. And the compass, of course, allows me to traverse the ship by just basically clicking and going through walls. It's so much fun getting lost in your own builds. Let's go back into the Jeffries system here and see if we can find our way through the Jeffries system. I know we can, it's just trying to sort it out is embarrassing. But it's an adventure, you know? What can I tell you? We gotta go down. Any higher and we're in the primary hall again. I don't want to be in the primary hall, so we go down. It's in here somewhere. I know it. We'll just go down again. We'll just keep going around until we find it. Now I know we can get to it from here. I have done that. I just don't remember how I did that. Alright. We're going to go for it. We're going to go down. We're going to keep going lower. That's the better way to put it. Lower. Okay. Bottom of the warp core. Eventually we will find where we're going. Ah! This looks promising. This looks... Bingo. Here it is. Wrong side of the ship, but it'll work. So anyways, this is the one on the other side of the ship, but basically Kirk was in a room very similar to this, and of course runs down here, is like, oh my god, we're going to explode. Flips a lever, runs back over, climbs back up, throws some knobs, and stands here like an idiot as half the ship gets blown away. End game for him. He's now worm food on some planet that means absolutely nothing. So, anyways, that's just a real quick tour of the Enterprise. B, sorry about the way it was done, but I'm new at this, so forgive me if you don't like it. Oh well, if you do, great. Anywho, hasta la vista.